But I know you do follow the TV shows, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. You're
Absolutely.
watching Andor.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, there he is right there.
Yeah.
We got the man, the myth, the legend.
No spoilers. I haven't watched today's episode, but I'm gonna do that probably after we record.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
but Acolyte is another show that's going to be coming from Disney Plus,
Yes.
and I know we I think you even kind of brought it up in our last book review because we were kind of wondering about the connections maybe to the
Yeah.
Acolytes. They had talked about Acolytes of the Beyond and all of that. More likely, the connections that we'll see in Acolyte will be to the High Republic because it's actually in the
Yeah.
same era or the end of that era. So it's going to be something that we definitely want to keep an eye on. But they did just give us a little bit more news around it, including kind of like casting announcement. We had already known kind of who the main actor was going to be, but they just gave us a kind of whole list of new actors. Did you check that out?
I did. I did. There's definitely at least one name in particular that sticks out to me. But it looks like it's a pretty solid act list once you start looking through what they're in, what they're already included in. But yeah, I took a look at it. Pretty exciting.
What which ones kind of stood out to you?
Carrie Ann Moss. I mean, that's the one that sticks out to me immediately because I mean, probably the most recognizable name for me because of The Matrix. Um, so that was super surprising to see her included in there. Outside of that, I mean, you have shows like His Dark Materials, Queen and Slim, The Hate You Give, Squid Game, Nine Perfect Strangers. I mean, honestly, I guess I just went through all the shows and all of them are recognizable to me. Um,
Are
and
all the
most of
actors
them very well
recognizable to you?
received. No, and see that's where things kind of fall apart for me. But I know that all the shows that they're coming from, they're being pulled from. Um, Pretty
Yeah,
well done.
Carrie Ann Moss was definitely the standout. As soon as I saw the list, I was like, "Oh wow, that's kind of surprising." She's a bigger name because of her
Yeah,
connection mostly to the Matrix, I think. But she's definitely probably the most recognizable. Although I would say the guy from Squid Game, Lee Jung Jae. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but he he was one that I was like because of the height of popularity that Squid Game reached, and he was instantly recognizable as soon as I saw his face pop up. I'm like, oh, that's so
yeah,
cool because I only really know him from Squid Game, but his acting in Squid Game was just top notch. It was
right.
so to see him added to this cast is kind of cool. I'm really curious to see. And they kind of had in the announcement they had some other pictures that they included like set pictures, and he was kind of featured in that. So I'm hoping he has kind of a big role and
Yeah,
isn't just some character they bump into. But he was one. Maybe I was a little more excited about him than I was about anybody else on the cast.
I just spotted one that just jumped out to me. Manny, and I don't know if that's Jacinto or if that Jay would be Jacinto, but it mentions that he's from Nine Perfect Strangers, which is a great show on Hulu. Highly recommend that you watch it. But he's also from The Good Place. Are you familiar with The Good Place?
I know what it is. I haven't watched it.
Okay, he plays an absolute hilarious character, but the his character that he plays in The Good Place and the character that he plays in Nine Perfect Strangers totally different. But he is such a good actor. So that's one that just jumped out to me because I was like, wait a second, I know that face. So that's exciting to me that he's included in the show. And then Daphne Keane from um, His Dark Materials. You don't recognize her there because she looks a heck of a lot older in that picture, but she's the main actress from His Dark Materials on HBO.
Okay. She looked really familiar, so I'm pretty sure I've seen her in something, but I have not watched his Dark Materials.
Okay.
But her face looked really familiar. Dean Charles Chapman was another one who I didn't recognize him right away just because of the shot, the image they used. But
Yeah.
he played a role in Game of Thrones. Um, Not like a huge central role, but he had kind of a bigger role in certain parts of the show. He plays one of the Lannister boys. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, he kind of popped out to me as well. And he was in 1812. Is that the name of that movie? 1812,
1917.
1917.
Yeah.
No, I'm getting the wrong war. It's not the War of 1812, but yes, 1917.
Yeah.
He also played a role in that. So yeah, I mean, it's always cool to see these notable actors being attached to these shows, because they're going to bring in an audience. People that were already
Yeah.
fans of them. It's going to bring in an audience when you have these recognizable, and they're not like such big stars that'll be distracting. Like
Right.
Brad Pitt is cast,
Right.
or somebody like that. It's names that are recognizable, but not they're not too big for Star
Right.
Wars where it would be distracting. So I think it looks like a really cool cast, and it makes me even more excited for the show.
Yeah, it definitely is one of those things where like you read the brief synopsis that they have below some of the set pictures below the cast list, and it's like, okay, so we have a Padawan, Jedi Master.
Yeah,
It
it's
makes
a
me want to know who fits in where, right?
Yeah, I want to read that actually. So The Acolyte is a mystery thriller that will take viewers into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era. A former Padawan reunites with her Jedi Master to investigate a series of crimes, but the forces they confront are more sinister than they ever anticipated. So it's almost like a Star Wars cop show. It sounds like,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
this, two partners going out to investigate crimes, set in the Star Wars universe. I've always thought that would be a cool, idea for whatever book, comic, movie,
yeah.
TV show. So to see that actually kind of making it to television, not just like a comic series, because they've kind of dabbled in that type of storytelling with the books and comics, but it's going to be, I think, unique to the TV stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that I'm really appreciating about the approach that they're taking with a lot of the shows that they're putting out on Disney Plus right now. Is they aren't staying in their quote unquote lane, right? They're starting to branch out into, with Andor, we have a spy thriller, like political drama, like we have that feeling to it. And now we're gonna get that mystery thriller, kind of like, as you mentioned, cop drama, what have you. But like we're getting these different lanes that Star Wars is branching out to. And I mean, as the books, as the literature, as the stories show, it can encapsulate all of that, right? Like the universe is big enough. So that's exciting to me. I'm looking forward to this show.